Hi, this is Sharon from craftyandcreativeideas.blogspot.com. I'm here today bringing you another one of my Wow, That's Cool videos. This one is going to be the Top Note Elf Shoe card, which makes a fantastic Christmas card if you haven't made your Christmas cards yet. Just such a cute little thing, and it doesn't take a long time to make. So we're going to look at this really quickly so that I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see what he looks like. And we're going to get started here. Alright, so what we're going to do is first you want to start out with a card base with cherry cobbler. And your card base, let me zoom this out a little bit because we're kind of close here. Your card base is going to be 5.5 by 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Okay, so it's a typical, just a regular normal card. Your first layer is going to be done in olive green, and that layer is going to be 4 5 1/4. And then I took another layer and I used Very Vanilla for this, and I cut that at 3 3/4 by 5, and I embossed that with the Stylish Stripes embossing folder from Stampin. It's a nice stripe that's on an angle instead of your typical straight stripe. Really a nice embossing folder. Okay, so then what I did was I took a 4-inch by 5-inch piece of cherry cobbler paper, and I ran it through my Top Note die cut. Okay, this is what the die cut looks like, and actually here's a little picture of it if that helps more for a visual for you. When I ran it through, I ended up with 2 pieces like this. Okay, I mean both sides. And then what I did was I cut it in half with the 3.5. This is 3.5 by 4.5, and I used the 3.5 side on the top to get actually 2 cards out of one Top Note. Okay, then at that point, what I did was I took my 1 1/4 inch punch. Okay, what I did was take my punch and I lined this up, my paper in here, so that the edge of this is lined up. Let's see if I can zoom this in, right along the edge of this part of the paper. Let's get that in there. And then I went about halfway into the punch, and that's where I punched. Okay? Then I flipped the paper, and did the same thing on the other side. Put it through here, line it up about halfway into the depth of the punch, and then punch into there. That gave me part of my boot, which is this section of it that you punched out. Now you will take your 3/4 inch punch, and you'll do the same thing but on the other side here, but not actually lining it up anywhere. You're just going to put it into the punch about halfway into the punch, and then just punch, and that's going to give you the top part of your boot. And then what I did, that's where your little sock is going to fit into there. And then I just took white gel pen and I went along and made little stitching lines. I'll just kind of see if you can, I'm going to zoom in this for you can see this a little bit closer. I just took it and made little stitching lines all along the whole boot just to make it cute. Alright, so then what I also cut was I cut 2 pieces from the Season Style paper, which I've got that over here. This is what it looks like. And this is the Season of Style. And there's a couple different patterns in here. You've got, and And it's all double-sided. It's really cute Christmas paper. I've used this a lot this season, making, you know, a lot of stuff, because I started all my Christmas stuff long ago. So I actually took the paper from there, and I cut two pieces that are 3/4 of an inch wide by 2 3/4 inches high. And then I also took a 1/2 inch punch, and I cut out two pieces of the champagne glitter paper. And I also took 1/8 inch ribbon, and I tied 2 bows with that. So now, first I cut a banner that is actually 3.5 by 1.5 inches long, okay? Then to make my flags, I measured in with a ruler. I took a ruler and I measured up 3/8 of an inch upward, and I put a little dot at that point. And then I went over and took a 1/4 inch and I put a dot in that area, so I know that's exactly the middle point, and the 3/8 is how far I wanted to cut up. Then from the angle, I just cut inward to make my flags. And I did this with Whisper White, and what I used for my stamp was the Naughty and Nice rotary stamp from Stampin' Up. It's in their holiday catalog, and this is cute. You could dial all different types of sayings on here. These are all the sayings that were on that little rotary punch. Really cute. But that's what I used for my Merry Christmas, for that. And then to put it all together, I took my olive green and I just ran some tape runner on that, some snail adhesive, and I glued that. Let me zoom back out of here a little bit because we're a little close. Okay, so I glued that to the front of my cherry cobbler, and then I put some snail on the back of my stripes. And I centered that on the old olive. Okay. Now I took my little feet, my shoes, and I placed those. So then I put a little adhesive on the back of the sock and slid it underneath the shoe, and then I matched the top of the Very Vanilla paper. Then I took the other sock, did the same thing, put snail, oops, and then put that even with the top of the Very Vanilla paper also. Now for the boots, his little elf shoes, what I did was I took the shoes with little dimensionals, oops. Okay, then I took my little champagne glitter and I put a little glue dot on the back of those. Put them onto the toes. I already put my glue dots on stuff to save time here. I put little glue dot onto the ribbon, and I put little ribbons up on the top of his socks. And then what I did for the banner is I took a little cherry cobbler ink and I took my sponge and just sponged the banner lightly around the edges, just to give it a little depth and dimension. And then I popped it onto the front of my card, right in the center of his boots. And that's it for the envelope. What I did was a Stampin' Up's basic envelope, white envelope, and what I took was the envelope liners that are in the holiday catalog, and I used the largest liner, which I used the Seasons of Style paper. And what I did was I cut that paper, a piece of that paper, to 6 inches. Okay, otherwise you can't put it in the big shot. You're going to lay your die cut this way on the paper, and it is going to be short that much because it's, you know, you're going to, the card's going to be in there anyways, but it makes a cute matching little envelope to go with the card. So, and that paper all matches with the dots that are in that paper. So that's what I did for the envelope. All of my details and directions of everything are on my blog at craftyandcreativeideas.blogspot.com, and you have links on there to purchase all the supplies for this project directly to my Stampin' Up site. And I'm so glad you were able to stop by. And until next time, God bless.